Welcome to Cooking with Anand in the Christmas edition. Today we're going to be making some yummy food and we have some special guests.
Hi, I'm Catherine and I'm going to be helping with the sesame tofu.
I'm Laina and I'm going to be helping with the banana cream pie. I'm Natalie and I'm going to be filming.
Thank you all for coming and joining me today. Here is the battle board for today. This is our game plan for what we're going to do. The ingredients for this are written on the board, so you could pause the video and write these down if you want.
Alright, so in the baked sesame tofu, you will need a pound of tofu, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon of water, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of flour, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 cup of butter, broccoli.
For the sesame sauce that goes on top of that, you'll need 1 cup of vegetable broth, half a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1 tablespoon of water.
For the banana cream pie, for the crust, you need 25 vanilla wafers and 1 tablespoon of oil. For the custard on the inside, 2 cups of milk, 2/3 a cup of sugar, about a pinch of salt, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, half a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 mashed banana, and a tablespoon of butter. And then for the whipped cream that goes on top of that, 2/3 a cup of cream and 1 teaspoon of sugar.
And for the cream, that is heavy whipping cream.
So first we're going to cut the tofu in 16 equal portions.
Yeah, we used a 1 pound block of tofu. The smaller you cut it, the crispier it will be, the little pieces will be, because they'll have more coating. But if you cut them too small, they'll be too fragile and they'll break apart really easily.
So first we're going to add the sesame oil, the water, the vegetable oil, and the soy sauce.
This will kind of make a marinade around the tofu, so this dry ingredients will stick to it better. While Catherine is gently mixing the tofu and the wet ingredients together, we are going to start on the crust for the banana cream pie.
So in here in our bag we have our vanilla wafers, which we are going to crush until they are little fine crumbs. So
now we're going to add some vegetable oil, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil into the crumbs. This will kind of form a little bit of a dough, so it'll be nice and moist. So when we press it into our little serving dishes, it'll make a nice crust.
So we just mixed all of the tofu with the wet ingredients, and we actually decided to cut them even into smaller pieces, just because they'd be easier to eat, I guess. And now we are going to add in the dry ingredients and mix those all together.
And that is cornstarch, flour, baking soda, and baking powder.
So now we are putting the tofu equally spaced in a pan and getting it ready to cook.
Once they are like this, bake them in a 400-degree oven for about 40 minutes until they get nice and crispy. After 10 minutes in the baking process, move them around a little bit so they get cooked evenly.
Okay, so it is about halfway through the cooking process, and we are now just going to add broccoli into our sesame tofu.
And this is roughly chopped, and then cook it for about another 20 minutes after you've added the broccoli.
Okay, so now we are making the sesame sauce, and we have sugar in a saucepan, and we are going to add vegetable broth, sesame seed oil, and sesame seeds.
And boil it, cook it until it boils.
So we are also adding in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce to our sauce.
The broccoli and the sesame tofu is also getting done. We just have to put it in for about 10 more minutes, and then we can add the sauce to it.
so yeah.
Once it comes to a boil, make a slurry with 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of water, and this will thicken the mix. Catherine, will you stir it really well as I add this in?
Yep.
There we go.
The sauce smells super good.
Yeah. What are your favorite things to eat for Christmas?
I really like the Christmas ham and turkey and such, and pies and just sweets.
Everything, pretty
Just
much.
all of the Christmas food. All of it. Okay, so our sauce has begun to thicken, and it's boiling and smelling really good. And so we turned down the heat a little bit so that it wouldn't just blow up in our faces. So
Yeah, and it will be a little bit scary, but you just kind of have to let it thicken on its own.
okay, so now we are going to pour our sesame sauce over our baked tofu.
Yeah, just drizzle it on top, and it's such a lovely mix. You can cook it until it's thicker if you want, but this is a nice syrupy, nectar-like consistency.
Okay, so for the custard, we're going to be mixing some milk, sugar, salt, and cornstarch over medium heat until it gets to a boil.
Yes, and 2 cups of milk is 480 milliliters. So, cool tip there.
I'll be whisking this until it comes to a boil to avoid it burning or clumping up.
Yeah, cornstarch can very easily clump up if it does not have, it's not given enough attention, so make sure you're stirring it the whole time.
Once it comes to a boil, our custard here, we're gonna wait about 1 to 2 minutes so that it can get really extra thick.
Once it comes to a boil, turn the heat off.
So now we're gonna add our mashed up banana into our custard here. And we're also gonna need to add half a teaspoon of vanilla and a tablespoon of butter. Now we're going to refrigerate our custard for about 45 minutes to an hour to make it thicker.
If you want to speed up the process, you can put it in the freezer for about half an hour.
So now for making our crust of the banana cream pie, we're gonna spoon the wafers and oil into the bottom of the cups and then like crush it down.
Yeah, push it down so it's nice and like a crust.
So for our whipped cream, we have just some heavy whipping cream that we just added, and then we're gonna have vanilla and sugar.
You can skip the vanilla, but we want a vanilla flavor, so we're gonna add it. Beat the cream until you get medium stiff peaks, and then add the sugar and vanilla. While Laina is whipping the cream, we can talk about the stages of cream. Right now we are at the ribbon stage, meaning when you pull it up, it will kind of droop back down, and after a few seconds it'll sink back in. After this is soft peaks, meaning when you lift it up, a little peak formed, but it kind of droops a little bit. And then after that it's a stiff peak, which means when you lift up the beater, it is very stiff, and the peak is like a mountain.
All right, so you know your whipped cream is ready when you can turn it upside down.
And nothing falls out. You definitely don't want to over whip it, because too much agitation will make the fat and the water in the cream split, and it'll start turning into butter. So this is the perfect stage. We have our piping bag fitted with a 1M star tip to give a nice swirl on the topping of the banana cream pies. And we've tucked down the edge, and Laina is nicely holding it for me while I pile the whipped cream in. Okay, for our banana custard cream pies, we're going to take the custard that we made earlier. It has chilled, and it's a little bit thicker now. Ideally, you'd want to keep it in the fridge for 45 minutes to an hour, and that'll make it nice and thick. Here we go. Okay.
So now we're gonna place some sliced bananas on top of this.
And it's mainly about the bananas. It's banana cream pie, you gotta have some good bananas in there. Okay, Laina, would you like to pipe? Make sure the end of your piping guide is twisted so it doesn't come out of that like a volcano. And use your dominant hand and put it on top, and your less dominant hand, use it to support at the bottom. Just swirl around in circles on top. And no matter what you do, the star tip will make it look beautiful. Is that good? Beautiful. There we go. Beautiful.
This is the most fun part, and we're just piping our whipped cream that we made earlier onto our banana cream pie, and hopefully it'll be really tasty.
And you can make pre-made whipped cream, but homemade whipped cream just tastes so much fresher and better.
Okay, so now we are just gonna put the banana on top of our dessert.
You can garnish with anything you like, but a beautiful ripe banana on top really sums up the dessert. We have some lovely fresh made rice going onto the plate, and that will be eaten with the beautiful sesame tofu. If you don't like yours as sweet, you can just add a little bit of the sauce and not add all of it. You can also add some chili flakes or chili paste in order to give a spicy kick to the sauce, but we just kept it as a sweet sauce. Thank you guys so much for cooking with me today, and I love your beautiful matching Christmas aprons. In the spirit. And thank you so much to Natalie for filming the whole thing. We could not have done it without you. Now let's dig into this. Sesame tofu. What do you guys think of the tofu?
It's really good.
It's super good.
It's so good.
It's a lot sweeter than I thought it would be.
Yeah, but I like it.
Yeah.
And the broccoli is cooked well too. It has a nice crunch to it still because we baked it. We didn't steam it or boil it, and so it
It's
adds
good with the sauce on it.
adds a nice contrast to the tofu.
Definitely.